I've got a full bag of CoverGirl here to try for you today. Some new launches, some old launches. I'm gonna let you know what's good for fair skin, is there any good cool tones, and are these products worth your money so you know what to buy on your next drugstore run. But let's go ahead and get started. Starting with base, I have two primer products here from CoverGirl. This first one you've probably heard me talk about before. It's the Color Correcting Serum Moisturizer and Primer in the green shade. You may have seen this in some of my favorites videos. I absolutely love this primer. It's a little bit of a silicone feel, but it's really thin and like moisturizer-esque. It's not that super thick type of silicone primer, so it's nice and smoothing. It has this like yellowy green tint. Doesn't turn into skin tone, which I really like. It just helps to neutralize redness while feeling really lightweight on the skin. It's so good. If you have like normal to dry skin, you would love this. Even when I'm more oily, I don't find it adds too much moisture. But the new one I have here is a new launch from them. It's their Trublend Skin Enhancer. They came out with a bunch of new products sort of in this tube that are primers, all claim to do different things. This one interested me the most. It's their Skin Enhancer Luminizer. It's the shade Jelly Opal Glow. 2% squalane. I thought this might be too dark, but I've also been really liking this. So it comes with a pump. This I also couldn't wait to mention, so you may have seen me apply it in my last few videos. It's so gorgeous. It's definitely a glowy product. It's very much a like drugstore dupe for the Say Glowy Super Gel. I swatched those in one of my other videos comparing them, and honestly they're like the same finish. It just has this nice sheer glow to it. The pearls in it are very fine and micronized, so you're not going to get a very glittery glow. Like, just look at that. This is too glowy for you for all over the face. You could just put it on the high points. I think it's gorgeous. It's water-based. It feels super lightweight. Also great for sensitive skin, just like that other primer. It's so pretty for the price. Really good find. I also love that this gives you that very glowy high shine finish, but without the weight, sort of like the Charlotte Tilbury Luminizer or the e.l.f. one. Those can add a lot of weight underneath makeup and make things look a little bit cakey. This one is so thin, like the Say Glowy Super Gel, that it's just perfection. Moving on, I don't have a foundation from them. Let me know if you have any like favorite CoverGirl foundations I should try. I almost got their new like watery skin tint, but the shades kind of looked a little bit weird. But I do have their concealer here, so let me just throw on some foundation. And of course use a little bit of my About Face foundation. As I'm applying this, you should be able to tell that as long as you're using like a medium lighter coverage foundation, that glow is going to show through and make your foundation have a nice glowy finish. So then this is their Covergirltrublend Undercover Concealer. This is very pigmented. It reminds me of the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. It reminds me of the Tarte Concealer. That kind of vibe. These are very thick. This is the shade. Let me swatch it for you. I unfortunately don't see the shade on here. I think the sticker might have come off, but it definitely looks like the lightest, probably like neutral or pink shade. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of this under the eyes. Like I mentioned, it's thick, it's pigmented, so you really do not need a lot of this. I don't find this is the most creaseless concealer, but for a drugstore pick, it's really solid. Like, the coverage is great. I went ahead and set my under eyes with the 100% pure bamboo blur powder, but I have the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Translucent Powder. I've had this for a long time now. Amazing pick for pale skin because it's a truly translucent powder, which can be a little bit hard to find at the drugstore. This is more of a finishing powder, so it has a bit more of a smoothing finish. I don't totally mind this under the eyes, but I think because that concealer was creamy, it needed a bit more of a loose setting powder. But I'm just taking a big fluffy brush and patting this in. So gentle and just really nice, and like doesn't mattify too much, still leaves a nice skin finish. For cheeks, I have a new to me product, the Covergirltrublend So Flushed High Pigment Bronzer. I tried their blush in my trying every drugstore blush video, so I was wondering, since I really like that formula, how this bronzer would be, and it looked like a pretty decent shade for fair skin. This is 390 Sunset Glitz. It's definitely more of like that yellowy, almost gold type of shade, which I prefer over anything that's too orange or red. So I've been liking this on a fluffier brush, and this does have a little bit of shimmer in it. Make sure to pat off the excess and then just start bronzing the skin. The shimmer is nice and smooth. It's definitely not too glittery. And whenever I do use a slightly warmer bronzer, I always like to take it into the crease a little bit just to make it harmonize with the rest of my face. It's a little bit warmer, but still not too much. It's nice and layerable. So I do really like this bronzer. Good drugstore pick. I like it better than some other drugstore bronzers I've tried for sure. And then of course its counterpart is the Trublend So Flushed High Pigment Blush. This is the shade Love Me, which is sort of like a neutralish pink, but does have a little bit of gold shimmer. And I feel like it pulls to gold though. It's actually a very pretty shade. Basically the same formula it feels like as the bronzer. I'm just using a Flower Beauty blush brush. And yeah, this is really nice for drugstore, really high quality blush. Has a nice amount of pigment, buildable, not too much, and fair skin friendly. What I love about both of these is I really love shimmery cheek products, but these are really fine shimmers. So even when you use them together, it gives you a nice glow, and there's no glitter. I feel like drugstore products tend to be a little bit on the glittery side. So if you're looking for nice, smooth shimmer finishes, both of these I do really recommend. I was going to pick up one of the new brow products, but I was really scared that the blonde shade would be too warm. If you tried it, let me know. I will maybe pick it up next time. So I'm just going to use the brow powder to fill in my brows. Onto eyes, I saw that these were new as well, but I know that they have had these palettes before, so I'm curious to see if these are just like a repackage. These are just their eye enhancers, or maybe these are just new shades. We will see, but this is like a little 4-pan palette. Whoops. Well, that's where it belongs because, I don't know, I never use those things. This is the shade, I will link it. I think the sticker got peeled off as well. So really nice, pretty purple shades. Let's swatch these actually really quick. They feel pretty decent, nice and creamy. Swatched, they're not giving a lot of pigment, which I was kind of expecting because I think I have tried these before and they're not like the most pigmented shadows, which could work. It looks like all of these have some sort of shimmer in it. Even the more matte ones have a little bit of sparkle. We'll see what we can do. Sometimes with fair skin, lightly pigmented shadows aren't a huge problem because they show up nice and like gentle on our skin. But I'm gonna try this lightest purple shade, and let me try putting this in the crease and just see what happens. I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of color there, but with that being said, if you don't have fair skin, these might just like be really ashy or just not even show up on you. I'm using more shadow than I usually would with something more pigmented, but I do feel like it's building up and giving me that nice sort of like lavender wash of color. And then taking this next purple here, which is a slightly darker version than that other one. These are a bit powdery too. So I have tried the Clean Fresh palettes, the 4-pan like vertical palettes, a little horizontal. They could be both, but those are really nice and creamy and very pigmented compared to these. So if you're like deciding between the two, just right off the bat, if you're looking for more pigment, that other palette is definitely a better option. This one is kind of looking similar to that other shade, giving a little more depth. Also running those 2 shades on the lower lash line. And then let's dip into this lightest shade, which also seems to have the most shimmer in it. I'm gonna pop this on the inner corner. Seems to be the nicest shade out of the other ones. Like it's a shimmer instead of being like a kind of shimmery matte. Yeah, that one looks nice. Also taking that on my finger for the lid. Yeah, I feel like this one has the most pigment as well. That's a nice, light, soft white. I'm not mad at it. It does have kind of like a slightly chunky shimmer in it, which isn't my favorite. Next, let's try this deepest purple matte as a liner. See if it's pigmented enough. So that wasn't as deep as I wanted it to be. So I'm gonna say in general, these would be a pass just if you're looking for pigment. I think that the Clean Fresh palettes are a lot better. If you have fair skin like me and you like really soft pigmentation and something that's really user-friendly, like if you mess up, it's not that obvious, you might like these, but overall, they could definitely step up in their eyeshadow game. I'm gonna take a little bit of a deep brown from the Makeup by Mario Neutrals palette, just because I'm looking for a little more definition here. Much better. So I want to talk about 2 mascaras actually. This is one I've tried before, the Cleantopia mascara in brown. I like the look of this. It unfortunately doesn't wear well and flakes and smudges, so I would pass on the Cleantopia one, but this is the new one that I've been trying out. This I was so excited about. It's the Eye Enhancer Mascara, and this is a 3D mascara in the shade Berry Brown. You may have already seen me wear this a couple times. It's like this red brown shade, which I've been wanting to try. I don't know why those packages are so hard, which I've been wanting to try for a while, but the Charlotte Tilbury one's a little expensive, and I like drugstore mascaras. So when this came out, I was like, yes, please. And this is like a really rich, berry brown color, like it is what it says it is. I love brown mascara for fair skin and just in general, so this is such a nice like fun color option that's still relatively natural. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this. So this is a mascara that's not super harsh right off the bat. You know, some mascaras you put on and it's like, whoa, you need to like comb it through a lot. It's very buildable, so it starts out more subtle. And hopefully you can see how cool that shade is. I've been loving this. So I will usually build it up a little bit more than this, but it gives you a nice voluminous natural finish. So here's what it looks like built up even more. It gives you more volume as you build, and it doesn't really build up on the tips of the lashes. So it has this nice soft fluttery look. So really enjoy this. I will say it does flake a tiny bit. I wish it was like perfectly wearing, but it's really nice mascara. I don't mind like a flake or two throughout the day. It's not super bad or anything. I haven't found that it smudges. So the color, the formula, I really like the shape of this brush. All around a win. Starting with lips with some ColourPop Cool BFF lip liner. I do have a lipstick from them. I was really curious to try. I don't know what this is called exactly. It's just in their clear tube. And this is the shade Romance Mauve, which is the prettiest like cool tone purpley mauve. If all lips pull warm on you, this one, look for it at the drugstore, grab it on Amazon if you want a nice creamy mauvey color. And the formula is so smooth, it's beautiful. So let's put this on. I feel like in the tube packaging doesn't look like much. This shade though, I'm obsessed with, like perfect cool tone. And then of course I have their Clean Fresh Yummy Gloss as well. I have a couple shades of these. They're all quite sheer, so it doesn't totally matter what shade you get. I do find that they have slightly different scents though. If you don't like scents, this might be like a little bit strong. It's a little bit strong for me. I don't mind it though. This one kind of smells like fruit punch. This is the shade, by the way, But First a Cosmo. So I got this one because I wanted like the most tint possible. Still very sheer though. It just gives you a little bit of like a magenta tint. Really nice over the lipstick. This gloss is a beautiful formula, by the way. It's really balmy. It doesn't feel like a gloss. It's like a liquid lip balm. Has a little bit of a tangly feel to it, but yeah, I think these are really nice. That was my full look with CoverGirl. I hope you found some maybe new gems to try out next time you're at the drugstore. I really do enjoy this drugstore brand. Cruelty-free. They have a really nice amount of great quality makeup. The only thing I would say avoid is the eye enhancer palette and go for the other palette. But other than that, everything is really good quality, and I do like how this look came out. I'm gonna go ahead and pop another video on the screen here, maybe about some other drugstore makeup, so we can keep hanging out over there. Bye.